Kelly, Line of Duty is all about women with certain qualities that I find absolutely riveting. Um, the protagonists, what is her title? Detective Chief Inspector Joanna Davidson. She's so complex. Well, we don't know her. That's the thing. She does not want to be known. And I find that actually amazing. It's an amazing experience as a viewer. How do you
Yeah,
handle
it,
that?
I mean, that's very deliberate. I think Jed Mercurio, who is the writer and creator, I think he was very clear about my character in one sense from the beginning, saying she's just entirely enigmatic, which um, was really interesting to play actually, because I couldn't really, there was, you don't find out too much about her compared to other series leads. You know, there wasn't a lot of her in her home environment with other people. So, yeah, you know that there's a lot going on there under the surface, but it takes a while to find out.
Well, I think that's her superpower, really. I think that's what makes her so intriguing. If you're not going to tell us who you are, I really want to know.
Yeah, it does with the whole show. That's what keeps people coming back. Like he's just a master at the suspense.
Um, and of course, the unit has problems figuring her out as well. And she's suspected at different times of perhaps murdering a witness and leaking information and connection with a gang. I mean, wow, that was amazing. Did you look on her as someone who was, for lack of a better word, morally set or fluid?
No, I think she's ambiguous, and I think the interesting thing about the character is like how you can switch from thinking she's. I mean, it's not as black and white as good and bad, but you know, is she a goodie? And you think she's a goodie throughout a whole scene, and then you know, and then the person she's talking to will walk down the corridor away from her, and then something tells you that all is not well. And then yeah, and so it's you know, nobody's one thing or the other.
Right.
That's the nature of
And that's
being
the
human.
beauty of this. And people don't really, producers don't explore this enough in films and television and streaming. The complexity of women. It's improved a little bit actually in the last year or so, given the streaming services. But Line of Duty was first, absolutely first. Um, and back to the show, we learn pretty early on that there's a general sense of paranoia and uh, mm, fear of being set up or being tricked in the unit, in the police unit. I mean, how prevalent do you think that kind of thing is, or do you think there's any realism involved in that?
Well, I think, I mean, if you read any of Jed's um, Twitter or, you know, he's very outspoken about what he thinks about, you know, the way our countries are governed and the policing they're in. And I think he writes about what is true, but just sort of, you know, amplifies it and shines a bright light on it.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and of course, in each series, rather, there's a female protagonist who is suffering. And would you describe what Joanna is going through as suffering because of, and why?
Well, it's tricky to talk about. It's like one of these funny things where I don't want to ever give away too much. But she is definitely suffering. From episode one, you get a glimpse into her life, and she's recently single. She's been in a relationship with someone and it's not worked out, and that someone is very angry about it. And she's seemingly very unemotional about it. And and yeah, she's a lonely woman. She's got a high pressure job, and and it's all work for her, and the fact that she makes some decisions that are kind of unusual, um, brings the investigation to her.
Yeah, lonely and also a lone wolf. I get the feeling that it's everything is her choice. You know, yeah. I'm just having a little trouble hearing you, but I want to also say that the British series, mystery series, are just so fantastic, and I think they're gaining an international reputation, or have done already. And I just want to say, what makes it so great?
I mean, the writing is very compelling, and Jed keeps us on our toes and keeps us sort of, at the end of every episode, you're desperate for the next one just to find out if you're right, if anything um, it's like everybody wants to be a detective. And I think, like, I grew up watching Poirot and Miss Marple, and Murder, She Wrote was on all the time. And I think the thing that Jed does is, like, you can never second guess it. He's really good at letting you think that you've sussed it, and then you see the next episode, and it comes out.
I know. And
yeah.
nobody is better at that than the Brits, that's for sure. It's interesting that all these shows that you grew up watching, and most of them now, the sort of non-professional detectives are usually female. So, I'm glad it's going into the professional world too. I just think it's a wonderful time in these mysteries. And I want to know from you what you think. You said everyone wants to be a detective, but what is the appeal of putting up your feet at night and watching murder and solutions? What is it?
I think people like to sort of know who the goodies are and who the baddies are, because life's not like that. And so I think that is a huge draw. And you just want a bit of escapism.
Well. Escapism, yeah. And no one's really being murdered. that's a good thing. So I want to say, just before I go, that your performance in No Country for Old Men has just stayed with me all these years.
Thank you.
Incredible, just incredible. I think you're a terrific actress, and thanks for coming to Line of Duty. Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Kelly.
Bye.